Good day from the smokeless chimney, and we are testing fans today. We've adjusted the code to work very far out in the data. So when the control box is reset or it is power cycled, for the first 90 minutes, it's going to put a lot more air in. After 90 minutes, it's going to put a minimal amount of air in. So we're past 90 minutes. We're up around 1,000 minutes or so. I've adjusted the code so when we see a temperature increase, which we should see, I put 3 pounds of dry wood in the wood stove. I'm going to get it going. Try to keep my hands off the wood stove, let the air system control it from there. So let's watch the 2 displays on the right. Let me explain what they are. The control box is on the top and is going to present several numbers. The one on the bottom is a PM 2.5 monitor. So that gives us the amount of smoke floating in the room. I recommend people have a PM 2.5 monitor near their wood stove so they can see when they should ventilate the room more. All right, I'm going to try to get the camera situated. We are now over 20%. We see an inverted display, and we also see a ping pong ball that lights up in various colors. I'm working on the LED, 3-color RGB LED that will communicate various stove conditions. But right now, the inverted display is the most indicative of a higher than 20% opacity. Now, a wood stove operator has 20 minutes to get their stove up to operating temperature and below this 20% opacity limit. So we're not too concerned about it at this time. I'm going to come back later with more information. This is the stove temp all alone. It's the stove temp from the data acquisition system. And I put fuel on at 0.5 hours. You can see a slight slope change at that time. However, it's difficult to determine when fuel was put on consistently with just the stove temp. You get a change in the slope, however, it's not definitive. Here we have the stove and the convection air fan. And I had reprogrammed the convection air fan, and I think it's running pretty well. We had about 1 hour of the convection air fan on full. The L289N only gets it to about 10 volts. One way to work around that is to give it more than 12 volts, but at this point in time I don't want to do that. It puts out around 20 CFM at the 10-11 volts, so that's plenty of heating air coming off at about 100 degrees Fahrenheit, and then as the stove cools down, it goes down considerably. This is the rate of rise chart. I was working with a unit that had been running for far more than 90 minutes, so it was running on the level 1. We still got up to 20 degrees per minute. That's about the control that I want. You can also see that at about a little more than an hour, we have consistent rate of rise negative, which means I think we've consumed most of our fuel at 1 hour. I put 6 pounds of fuel in 2 3-pound increments into this stove. Put fuel on at 0.5 hours. I think it's just very interesting that it crosses the 0 line at just over an hour. Good data. Our LED did not exceed 140 degrees Fahrenheit today. Those three little data points are errors. This just shows me that I didn't overheat my LED. This is the opacity and color shift chart from this testing, and we did exceed 20% for 20 minutes or so, and that's legal. We got significant color shift, and we have color shift the entire time we're putting hot air out the chimney, and I think that's interesting. The color shifts coincide with the opacity readings when we have peaks over 20%. However, when we don't have a lot of opacity, we still get a small color shift of around 10, just with hot air going out the chimney or hot exhaust gases without a lot of particulate matter. So all very good data, systems performing adequate at the very least, and we'll see when we meet with my group at University of Berkeley whether we're doing the right thing. The air system is going into mitigation mode whenever it goes over 20%, which we're at 49% right now. We're still in the startup. We're only 10 minutes into the start of the flame. Notice that our room is up to 160. I'm not sure where the smoke is coming from. However, this is a little more than I would like to see near a wood stove. We can usually keep it under 50. I'm not sure why it's creeping up at this point in time. Keeping the door closed is an important aspect. Well, it looks like I'm allowing more air in. I was watching it and I just could not resist influencing the fire. So I'm allowing more air in, and that's spreading the fire throughout the box. Let's come back at 20 minutes and see how we're doing. All right, we're here at 20 minutes. Our opacity is at about 3. Our room smoke is at 91. We've got great looking flames. Nice yellow diffusion flames. These flames are supported by 2 combustion air fans, and this is exactly what I'm trying to get to. Nice looking flames. So I'm proud of the flames today. This is on the level 1 control. And I'm not sure there's any more to comment other than we have achieved getting the smoke down, and the room is starting to clear. We are at 30 minutes since we started the test. Most of our 3 pounds of fuel have been consumed, and we are going to add some fuel. I've got some nice dry branches to add, and then I top it off with some CNC shavings, basically sawdust. All right, so right now our smoke is at, or opacity is at 1. Our room is at 50. These are good values. There's the CNC chips. That's going to make a lot of smoke. I put 2 of those in. Close up the door. Let's watch that smoke number. It's creeping up. It's doing okay. I'm not sure if it goes over 20% with this fuel insertion or not. Our room is dropping at 48. Well, we got good flames, I'll say that. Usually when I put new fuel on, it does jump over the over 20%. However, I'm not seeing it right now. It's just hanging there at 2%. So let's just call it good. We are now near 45 minutes since we lit the test. We're on our second fuel load here. Our opacity is near 0. Our room is near 45, which is fine. And we have great looking flames. Our stove temperature is definitely hanging in there. I'll have graphs. I haven't processed the graphs yet. However, if you got good looking flames and you're not putting out any smoke, you would assume that you have a nice hot wood stove that's putting out a lot of heat. And I remember being down there and I didn't want to touch it. It was hot. All right, well,